Hi, my name is Annie Bosch. I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I am a teacher in an early childhood special education classroom, so I service kids with all sorts of labels from ages 2 to 5 years old. I have been at Ball State for 4 semesters, and I really love learning behavior principles that I can apply on a daily basis in my classroom. It works for all of my students, so really useful knowledge that I'm learning here. This consultation class and this part of the program has been my absolute favorite because it's things that I can directly apply to my classroom. So, in my spare time, besides teaching full time and taking classes, my husband and I have 3 children, a 2 year old and twin 1 year old, so we are very busy. But when I do have free time outside of kids' classes and working, I like reading, and I also take spin classes before everyone wakes up. So, little me time. Hope you enjoy our presentation on functional communication training. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Taylor Ficino. I am originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, but I currently live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I got my Bachelor's of Arts in History from UNC Wilmington, which is right on the coast of North Carolina, and this is currently my third semester here at Ball State. Um, Hopefully, I will be graduating in December of this year, and then I will study, 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 and then sit for the BCBA exam in January of 2020, and hopefully receive my license to practice. Um, I currently work as a RBT in the clinic setting, and I work in a TK classroom where each of the kids, there's about 6 of them, have their own one-on-one ABA therapist, and we work really hard for them so that by the next year they are ready to go to kindergarten and can leave our clinic. And I also do afternoon one-on-one ABA sessions as well at that clinic. This work is something that I love, and it's something very new to me, but as soon as I found it, I knew it's where I wanted to be. Um, in my spare time, I really just love to relax because our work is so demanding at times. And I just love watching TV with my kitties and spending time outdoors reading or exploring my city because this is a new city to me. Um, recently love to bake, and I'm just learning how to do all of that because it's very hard. And yeah, so that's about it.
Hey, my name is Pyle Gandhi. I was born and raised in Brampton, Ontario, Canada, but moved to Georgia when I was about in fifth grade. I went to the University of Georgia for my undergraduate degree. Go Dogs! I currently work as a registered behavior therapist. I plan to graduate with my master's program in December. I absolutely love working with children and especially early learners. It's so cool to see their progress. In my free time, I like to paint and craft, travel, and try new activities. I also love to relax. I hope you learn and enjoy the presentation and project as much as I did.
Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Inman. I live in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I currently work as a registered behavior technician and a behavior analyst in training at a local ABA company. We actually just started this last year, so it's been cool to be on the ground as we've been making our programming and being able to do programming for several different clients. This is my fourth semester at Ball State University, and I plan to graduate in December. I work in home mainly. Most of my kiddos are in home during the day and at night, and then I'm also in the clinical setting a couple of days. I've worked with individuals ages 2 to 30 years old, so quite a big age gap there. But I love seeing the progress of my clients as they work through different things and as we work through, different functional living skills. It's just really fun to work with different people and see them progress. I can't wait to be a BCBA after completing this program, hopefully by next year. In my free time, I have been planning my wedding, which is coming up this summer in August. I'm very excited. And I'm just excited for you to view our presentation. We worked on this really well and really a lot. So I'm excited for you to see what we have put together.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Miller. I live in Jeffersonville, Indiana. I'm right across the river from Louisville, Kentucky, so it's nice and close to the big city, but a small town feel. I work as an RBT at an ABA company that is solely in Indiana, but they have multiple locations throughout Indiana. I work only in the clinical setting right now, but our location just got approved to do in-school therapy with some of our learners, which is awesome. This is my second semester at Ball State in the ABA program. I have worked with individuals with autism from ages 2 to 19. I'm very excited to become a BCBA when I graduate, so hopefully I pass the test the first time. In my free time, I enjoy working out, watching Netflix, and reading. I hope you enjoy our presentation.
Our ABA company was contacted by Ellison Preschool when they started to have behavioral issues in the classroom. This is an inclusive school, has about 200 students who are ages 3 to 5. 50 of these students are general education students, and then the other 150 are special education students. Of these 150 special education students, 50 are in speech therapy. 25 of the 50 students in speech therapy are nonverbal. However, only 5 of these students are using a picture exchange communication system, and the other 20 students do not have any communication system available to them. We were mainly contacted because of behavioral problems occurring in the classrooms. These tend to happen during playtime. They tend to be fights over toys. And when children do not have access to various toys because other students are playing with them, there tends to be tantrum behaviors in the classroom. Teachers are finding this hard to manage, and there's been several school meetings to try and figure out how to handle this issue. So they have contacted our company to come in, and we are going to implement a functional communication intervention to help these kids communicate and hopefully decrease fighting over toys.
This is the research background of this project we are working on for functional communication training. The first research article I'm going to talk about is Falcomata et al. 3 individuals with limited communication learned how to use different cards to communicate wants and needs. There was some parent training involved in this research. Over the course of MAN training, manding increased and unwanted behaviors decreased. The next one is a review and practical guide on FCT by Tiger et al. Although the process of FCT can be briefly summarized, there are variations at each stage of the training that are likely to affect the outcomes. The purpose of this review was to identify the variations in different research for each stage of treatment, to evaluate the effectiveness from different variations, and to create guidelines for best practice on the basis of this research. The article could be used as a practical guide to individuals who implement FCT. The last research I'm going to discuss is a meta-analysis written by Tong in 1998, and he found functional communication training had a significant impact on reducing the problem behaviors of nonverbal individuals with developmental disabilities.
Tiger et al. Gave a lot of helpful steps on how to implement functional communication training. We have turned that into a task analysis. Step 1 is to identify a communicative response that is familiar to the student and will allow for quick acquisition. Usually these start as very simple one-word MANs. Step 2, the BCBA will train and designate an individual in the classroom or multiple to implement the functional communication training in each preschool classroom. Step 3 is to arrange the environment so there are quite a few and frequent opportunities to prompt and reinforce the communicative response. This will lead to very quick acquisition if it is done correctly. Step 4 is to utilize appropriate prompt fading techniques per child Preferably, this would be the least to most prompting hierarchy. Step 5 is to reinforce each communication response on a dense ratio. Step 6 is do not reinforce any problem behavior that you witness. Withhold all reinforcement when problem behaviors are occurring. So ask the child to mand again without any maladaptive behaviors. The BCBA will arrange and implement punishing contingencies only when necessary based on the needs of each individual student. And then when problem behaviors are reduced in the controlled environment, there are more steps to take. As a student acquires the desired communicative response, then the schedule of reinforcement. Reinforcement can be delayed. Students should be taught that reinforcement cannot always be given by teachers and aides. It can also be given by their peers, and it can always be withheld. Students should be taught when reinforcement opportunities are not available. So they need to understand no and denied access. In order to promote generalization, make sure to include a variety of settings and trainers into the training. Also, I would include peers when possible. Incorporating stimuli from different settings and conducting training from various contexts can be another strategy to promote generalization. Caregivers should be appropriately trained on how to respond in cases of problem behavior and how to respond to the communicative response. Communication responses should be practiced in the natural environment and all environments. As time goes on, the communicative responses should increase in complexity and difficulty, meaning working up to full sentences.
Here we have a basic data collection sheet for our functional communication training, where we can track each learner's progress on the use of their replacement behavior, whether that is an AAC device or the use of PECS or another form of functional communication that they have been taught. We can use this form to collect data on a learner's use of the replacement communicative behavior. So that would be where you would list either the use of a device or the use of PECS. When multiple opportunities for the use of this RCB are provided, or in situations where the behaviors are frequently occurring. So you want to use this form when you have multiple opportunities for the learner to engage in the behavior. So that is definitely going to be during playtime, definitely during recess, any time where those learners are really using their words or need to use their words in this case. So we have a place to write the learner's name, the observer's name, the interfering behavior, so whether that be throwing, taking toys, engaging in a tantrum, that's what you would write there. What are we trying to reduce or replace with functional communication? Underneath it, you have your replacement communicative behavior. So that would be, again, where you would list either the device, PECS, or other forms of functional communication. Then we have a place to list interval duration. So each interval is going to be a set amount of time. So it could be 5 or 10 minutes or 15 or whatever is best for you in that scenario situation. Then your observation period. So if you're observing for a total of from 9 to 12 p.m., that's what you would write. Then underneath, we have a place for you to list your date and time. And in this template, there are 10 rows for you to list the behaviors. If you think that that learner is going to engage in less or more within each interval, that is something that you can add or take out depending on your learner. So you would write under date and time the date and then the interval time. So 9 a.m. to 10, excuse me, you would write an interval time. So using this example, you would write 9 a.m. to 9:10 a.m. in the first box. So from 9 a.m. to 9:10 a.m., you're going to track how many times the learner either engaged in the interfering behavior, so whether he took a toy without asking. If he took a toy without asking, in the column 1, you're going to write IB. He had an interfering behavior. So then they keep playing. Then he independently uses his device to request for a toy. You would write I in number 2, and so on and so forth. So you are tracking whether you were able to physically, gesturally, visually, or verbally prompt him or her, whether or not they engaged in a behavior, an interfering behavior, or whether or not they engaged in the replacement behavior independently. So what happened is basically all we're tracking. So if they only engaged in 4 behaviors, one being an interfering behavior, and then the next 3 you were able to physically prompt, you would be writing IB under number 1, and then you'd be writing PP under 2, 3, and 4. So that's just an example for how we would collect data, and then it goes on and goes down. So if your observation period was 9 to 12 p.m., your row should, under date and time, be 9 a.m. to 9:10 a.m., then 9:10 to 9:20, 9:20 to 9:30, and so on and so forth. So I think that about sums up how we would collect data for our functional communication. So when we're talking about PECS, we really don't need too many materials in order to implement this effectively for our students who have limited communication abilities. So what we're looking at right now is a I want strip, and that is what it's called. And then to our right, there are pictures of reinforcers. So what you would do before implementing this with a child would be to first identify those reinforcers, and that's anything that the child just loves to play with, loves to engage in, whether it's playing outside, loves playing puzzles, loves doing potato heads, loves playing with cars, loves building trains. You would know, and especially as a teacher, you're going to know what each individual students like to do. And so you're going to identify those things. You're then going to either take a picture, find a picture online, print them out, cut them up, and you can use these pictures to help your learner communicate to you what he or she wants. So it's a very basic system. There's the words and a picture of the boy pointing with the hand raising, showing I want. Then the learner will be able to choose from a list of their reinforcers. And it's very, very helpful to have those pictures along with the words because our learners are in preschool. And so many of them do not know how to read. So showing them the pictures is going to make it even more accessible for them. So in the moment, they're screaming, they're whining. You take out your I want strip and give it to the learner and then show them their reinforcing pictures. This allows them the opportunity to choose a reinforcer. That way they're building the sentence, I want bubbles, or I want car. And so they learn over time as we use this more and more with them to communicate, they learn that using this has the same function as whatever the interfering behavior was before. So if the learner engaged in screaming when he wanted a toy, or if the learner engaged in taking without asking when he wanted a toy, using this as a replacement will teach them that they can use their words to communicate with their wants and needs. And so these can really be expanded, or they can stay at this very basic level as our learners develop and learn more skills and learn more communication skills specifically.
Sing! The ants go marching 3 by 3, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching 3 by 3, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching 3 by 3, the little one stops to climb a tree, and they all go marching down. to the ground, to get out of the rain. Boom, boom, boom. Sing! Sing! The ants go marching 4 by 4, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching 4 by 4, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching 4 by 4. Another one stops to shut the door. They all go marching down to the ground to get out of the rain. Boom, boom, boom. Sing! Sing! The ants go marching 5 by 5, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching 5 by 5, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching 5 by 5. Another one stops to take a dive, and they all go marching down to the ground to get out of the rain. Boom, boom, boom. Sing! Sing! The ants go marching 6 by 6, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching 6 by 6, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching 6 by 6. Another one stops to pick up sticks, and they all go marching down to the ground to get out of the rain. Boom, boom, boom.
So we're reading the jacket I'm wearing. Oh,
He looks so much better now when I gave him a haircut. Sing!
this is
Sing! The ants go marching 1 by 1, hurrah, hurrah.
In this video, you will see a young learner with a PECS wristlet that contains some of the pictures that he is being taught. One of the providers is providing errorless prompts to the learner that is manding to the other adult to sing. It is clear that that is where his motivation lies, as you'll see him reaching for the picture, and the adult is just helping him out with grabbing the picture and showing him that he needs to hand it to the other adult in order for his man to be fulfilled.
Hi, I'm Joe from Pyramid Educational Consultants. Welcome to this short video designed to help you get everything ready for teaching your first PECS lesson. The first and most important thing you need to have ready is something that your learner wants. We call this a reinforcer.
Like candy.
It is ideal to have at least 3 reinforcers before you begin. You can identify reinforcers by eliciting or observing 3 different behavior patterns. Look for items they exert effort to gain access to. Look for items they resist having taken away. Look for items they spend a lot of time with. These can be toys from around your home or school, food items, or anything they like. The second thing you need to do is to prepare corresponding picture symbols. The Pics for PECS CD or PECS 151 picture set can make this easier for you. You need to find a symbol that represents the item, and then give the picture a label so that everyone on your team names it consistently. You then need to ensure that the symbols are tough enough to last. It is a good idea to laminate them. Next, you need to apply hook and loop fastener to the symbol. We always apply the loop fastener, which is the soft side, to the symbol, and then the hook fastener, which is the hard side, to the book. Now you are ready to get started. Here are a few pointers to help you. Here is a PECS communication book. We sell these to make getting started quick and easy. In addition, we sell PECS starter kits that include all you need in one convenient set. Please look at the PECS training manual for instructions on how to implement the PECS protocol. To get a better understanding of how to implement and teach each phase of PECS, it is recommended that you attend a PECS Level 1 training. Go to www.pecs.com for information on upcoming workshop dates in an area near you. Once you have attended PECS Level 1 training or read the PECS training manual, you will need to locate another person to act as a physical prompter to assist in teaching the first phase of PECS.
Chocolate.
Robot.
There you go.
We wish you the best, and remember, we are here to support you in helping your learners to achieve their full potential. Go to www.pecs.com for more information about PECS and to locate an office near you. Join our free online discussion board to interact with other PECS users and to ask questions about PECS. Goodbye for now, and we look forward to hearing from you further.
This video will give you more information on the materials that you need and ways to implement using PECS. It is a quick little summary video on how to use PECS. However, be mindful that what is shown in the video is not what's used always across the board with every single kiddo. PECS is a very individualized program, and each kid has their own skill set. Therefore, in the previous video that you watched, one of the kiddos had a PECS wrist Velcro, versus in this video you see the PECS board. Some kids may not be ready for an entire board and they just need easy access to a picture. It's all dependent upon the individual's skills, and we want to work our way up to a bigger array and getting more comfortable with using PECS across the board with all people, all settings, and all stimuli. So for our PECS program, we have decided to select our target behavior, which has been observing these children taking toys from others and tantruming, and determining the function of this target behavior. We have operationally defined these behaviors, and we've selected using an alternative augmentative communication device, in our case using PECS, the Picture Exchange Communication System. We want to teach these nonverbal kiddos PECS as a replacement behavior. That way they have a very clear form of communication towards the other kiddos. Say if they want to take turns playing with a toy, or if they even just simply want to play with the toy itself and instead of engaging in tantrum or other behaviors. We want to reinforce every instance of appropriate use of the PECS system, because it's really, really, really important that they contact that reinforcement right away. That way it increases their future use of PECS. Once they've mastered the program, we can worry about fading those reinforcers out, but initially we want to make sure that we're reinforcing every single instance of that appropriate use of their PECS board. We want to put their target behavior on extinction, so we want to decrease all of the tantrums, and we want to decrease all of the just taking toys from other children. That's a behavior that we want to reduce, and we want to increase the appropriate use of PECS. It's really, really also crucial to always analyze the data frequently. We need to make sure that we are constantly analyzing the data with the behavior analysts on the team to make sure that our PECS plan is actually working. We don't want to continue to work on something that the data is showing not to be effective. And whenever PECS is used effectively, it has really shown to be successful, and that target behaviors have decreased significantly or extinguished. One of the biggest functions or reasons of children's tantrums and problem behaviors is because of the lack of communication. So with these nonverbal children, we plan to implement the PECs and really reduce any of these problem behaviors. That way they have the appropriate form of communication, and those inappropriate forms of communication like taking toys and tantruming is decreased and even gone.
Some final tips for you all. Always consult with your BCBA when you have questions or any issues arise. They will be your main point of contact to facilitate any questions and issues. Reference the training materials and the functional communication training guideline frequently. A lot of your answers can be found there. Make sure problem behaviors are on extinction. We do not want to reinforce any problem behaviors. And always reinforce the functional communication, especially on this schedule that the BCBA gives you.